Good Monday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. In today's weather forecast, I will be tracking extreme cold from now all the way through early February, as well as a potentially significant ice storm with heavy ice accumulations across the southern plains to the mid-Mississippi Valley. And then looking at the longer range weather pattern. Is winter over or are we just beginning? All of that and much more in this video. This morning, we are waking up to temperatures in the teens below zero, even 20 degrees below zero here across portions of North Dakota, getting into southern Manitoba this morning, and even 30 to 32 degrees below zero Fahrenheit up into west central portions of Ontario, Canada this morning. And you can see that freezing line extends all the way south into south central Texas, through northwestern Arkansas, and up through the mid-Mississippi Valley. The wind chills this morning aren't much better either. We got temperatures that are 35 to 45 degrees below zero with those wind chills. Farther up to the north, especially into North Dakota, into Manitoba and Ontario, Canada, and even those below zero wind chills extending far south into towards the Amarillo area, around 3 degrees below zero, into western Oklahoma and into portions of Kansas this morning. High temperatures this afternoon will be rebounding, but not by much. We're going to be seeing high temperatures below zero for the most part across the eastern Dakotas into much of Minnesota and the north woods of Wisconsin. That freezing line will stick around across south central Texas on up into northwestern Arkansas and the Ohio Valley through the day today. And then north of there, temperatures will be in the teens and 20s for highs. Southeast of there, with that ridge across the southeast, you can bet temperatures will be back into the 50s and 60s and even some 70s down here as well this afternoon. All the same as we head into Tuesday, January 31st, to end the month. Much of this cold air will be sticking around, and that really continues, especially across the north through the day on Wednesday, with, again, below zero high temperatures into the eastern Dakotas and northwestern Minnesota for Wednesday afternoon. Remember to dress in plenty of layers as well. Again, you want to bundle up, bring your scarf, bring multiple layers of coats and sweatshirts that you guys have, and the pants out there as well. You definitely want to cover up all exposed skin because frostbite is a real thing. And again, it does only take 10 to 20 minutes, especially when you see 30 degrees below zero or colder for wind chills out there to get frostbite. So definitely be mindful of that. But if you guys are new to the channel and have not yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button down below and like the video. That's the thumbs up down below as well. If you subscribe, you get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. And if you like it down below, it helps to get all of this weather information out to more and more people here across YouTube. So thank you guys all for hitting the subscribe button and like button down below. We are expected, hopefully, to hit 20,000 subscribers today, thanks to you. So hopefully we can do that by pressing subscribe and like below. But we are all eyes on the ice storm potential across the United States today. This is a big deal going into the next couple of days, as we already have winter weather advisory across the mid-Mississippi Valley, extending all the way up into the southern suburbs of Chicago and toward Indianapolis. And then we have winter storm watches in the lighter teal shaded colors here. That's across west central Texas, getting up near the Red River, and including the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex on south-southwestward. We have winter storm warnings, and this is not for snow. This is for heavy ice and a potentially crippling ice storm across this region. And the culprit for that is we have a positively tilted trough across Southern California and the Baja of California this morning. And that is going to move its way farther to the east through midweek on Wednesday, February 1st, with that positively tilted trough arriving across West Texas as we head towards Wednesday afternoon. Again, looking at this is the winter precipitation chart. You can see if we have all the cold weather here, it's going to be snow from cloud all the way to the surface. We have a little bit of some warm air aloft here, starting as a snowflake, but then moving into some of the warmer air aloft, you have some ice pellets, and then that will transfer down to the surface. But what we are seeing is freezing rain. We have it starting off as snow at the cloud, but then turning to rain as it moves through that deep, warm layer aloft. And then by the time it reaches the surface, contacts with the pavement, with bridges, overpasses, any roadways out there, or even your windshield on your cars. It will refreeze on contact with any surface, and that is freezing rain and turns to ice. And then, of course, rain, it starts off as snow, and then it's warm all the way from the upper levels to the ground, and it never refreezes. So looking here at this week, and especially into Wednesday evening, we're going to see that very strong warm nose aloft across the southern plains and in towards the mid-Mississippi Valley. So just a few thousand feet up, we're talking 2,000 to 5,000 feet above our heads, we're going to see some very warm temperatures. So all those snowflakes that are dropping out of the cloud initially will turn to rain droplets and travel all the way to the surface. But once it reaches the surface, you can see the near surface temperatures are at or below freezing, especially the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex on north and northwestward, and that extends up here towards the Little Rock area, up into portions of Fort Smith, Arkansas, and then getting into the mid-Mississippi Valley here. And by the time we get in towards noon on Monday, we're talking about some freezing drizzle and light freezing rain from Oklahoma City back up here into Tulsa and then southward to the DFW Metroplex. It may be a rough go of it Monday afternoon. That will continue in a big way through Monday evening. A little bit of a steadier shield of sleet and freezing rain here in a narrow swath from southeastern Missouri back through Little Rock and then getting in towards southeastern Oklahoma and the DFW Metroplex at 9 o'clock Monday evening. And then by the time we get into sunrise or thereabout on Tuesday around 6 a.m., we're still going to be seeing some light freezing rain with the second round of moisture moving into central Texas here. And then the first round will be moving up toward Memphis and getting into western Kentucky with some freezing rain and sleet Tuesday morning. And then again, Tuesday afternoon with that second round of moisture resurging into the area. Again, Little Rock getting back into Dallas-Fort Worth, Texarkana, and then back west-southwestward. It will be a rough go of it with some freezing rain, sleet, and possibly some snow at times mixing in Tuesday evening. And then going through Wednesday around midday on February 1st, our third round of freezing rain looks to be on Wednesday, and this could be the most significant round, as you can see how widespread some of these pink shaded colors are across North Texas, Northwest Texas, and toward the Red River here into southern Oklahoma. East of I-20, it looks primarily all liquid, all rainfall as we head through Wednesday evening, but we will be tracking this as that third round of moisture does move in, and this is going to be producing some pretty crippling values here for ice accumulation. This is your total 3-day ice accumulation. So from Monday today all the way through Wednesday, February 1st, we could at least be talking about widespread quarter-inch of ice. And I don't know if you guys know this, but quarter-inch of ice could actually weigh down the power lines, weigh down branches. So definitely take this seriously. Do not park your vehicles under trees because this could be very dangerous. You could have one of those branches fall off here and go right through your windshield. This is the type of ice we are talking about. In some areas could even be over a quarter of an inch. That is just conservative. Some of these models out here that I'm seeing are seeing over 3/4 of an inch of ice. Is definitely possible. And again, this will be moving up through portions of Little Rock into western Tennessee over the next couple of days. And you can see this even continues into portions of Kentucky, getting into West Virginia at times. Of course, getting farther north and east, it will be lessening up with the ice accumulation, but still 1/10 of an inch to 2/10 of an inch and up near 1/4 of an inch of ice again across portions of central Kentucky into western portions of West Virginia will still be treacherous on the roadways. So definitely be mindful of that. And again, with the travel out there, it's going to be minor to moderate travel inconveniences. And I wouldn't be surprised by the next couple of days if this actually gets upgraded across portions of North Texas, getting into southeastern Oklahoma and parts of Arkansas to a major travel disruption. We'll continue to monitor that. But at least now through Wednesday night, minor to moderate travel impacts down here. Travel is highly not advised because of this storm. So are you ready for an ice storm? Trim your weak or damaged branches around your home. Do not leave your vehicle wipers raised. Have a week's worth of food and prescriptions here. Again, you want to be mindful of that because travel will be treacherous out there. And then don't park your car under trees. You can have those tree branches snap off and go right through your windshield. And especially keep your devices charged, such as smartphones, laptops, anything like that, because you could also lose power as well because of all those the ice accumulation and ice accretion actually starting to accumulate on those power lines and a lot of those trees out there. So that could, be, power outages could result from that as well. But with this storm system, we will be talking about heavy rainfall. So on the warm side of this, we're going to see heavy rainfall, flooding rains potentially across the central Gulf Coast states, extending eastward toward the Carolinas. Anywhere in these red shaded colors here from East Texas to South and North Carolina, we could be talking about at least 2 inches, if not upwards of 4 inches of rain in some of these areas now through Friday, February 3rd. And you can see towards mid and late week on Wednesday into Thursday, we have that slight risk for flash flooding into East Texas, northwestern Louisiana. This extends from Shreveport back through Tyler, Texas, and near the Houston area. And then that continues as we head farther eastward on Thursday into Friday here, late week, from portions of Louisiana on up through Mississippi, Alabama, now including the Atlanta, Georgia area, and getting back into the western Carolinas. So do want to be mindful of that. Do never drive your car through flooded roadways. Definitely can be very dangerous. But as we go into next weekend on Saturday, February 4th, we finally will start to quiet down. Lots of high pressure building in across the center of the country and the eastern 2/3 of the country by this point. But it will be very cold, especially across southeastern Canada and the northeast. These are your low temperatures waking up Saturday morning, February 4th. Starting to see some more milder air westward across the Great Plains, but across the upper Midwest and eastward, especially into southeastern Canada and the northeast. Look at these temperatures, guys. Waking up Saturday morning, we could be seeing air temperatures, guys. Yes, air temperatures 30 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit across upstate New York, getting into Vermont, New Hampshire, and parts of Maine, and this extends farther north into Ontario and Quebec, Canada. And yes, these are your wind chills. Very, very hazardous out here Saturday morning. We could see 40, 50, even closing in on 60 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit wind chills into western portions of Maine, into northern Vermont, New Hampshire, and upstate New York by the time we get into Saturday morning. So definitely bundle up out there, guys. A big cold blast is coming this upcoming weekend. And then going into Sunday, we got another storm system moving in across the Pacific Northwest from Seattle down through Portland, Oregon, and Northern California here. That's going to be bringing some heavy rainfall and eventually some mountain snow towards late next weekend. You can see that moving in on Sunday, February 5th. Some heavier rain can be expected across the Seattle region, down across the western coastline of Oregon into the coastline of northwestern California. Some higher elevation snows could be sneaking down here into at least the northern Sierra Nevada mountains, and then farther north and east from there into those ski resorts across eastern Oregon, getting into southwestern Idaho and northern Nevada. That continues across much of the Intermountain West and the Rocky Mountains, with those ski resorts getting plentiful snowfall going in towards early the following week, next Monday on February 6th rather. And you can see the total rainfall accumulation from this next weekend all the way through early next week. We could be talking about several inches of rainfall here across the Pacific Northwest into northern California. In fact, some of these areas could be seeing 1 to 3 inches worth of rain, especially from Portland, Oregon, southward toward the northwestern coast of California. Also, some heavier mountain snow at times. This is not going to be the biggest, replenishment to the mountain snow that we have ever seen, but we are definitely going to be seeing some heavier snowfall across the upper elevations here across the Intermountain West, with at least a few inches in some of these areas. Other areas may see up to a foot of snowfall back into western Oregon and northern California and those higher elevations through next weekend into the following week on February 6th. But by that time, as we get into early next week on Monday, February 6th, we're going to see a pattern change yet again. We're going to move that cold air farther north and east back into Canada and back where it belongs toward the Arctics. And we're going to say goodbye to that and hello to the warmer temperatures early next week. That continues into a big way on Tuesday, with some of these temperatures back 10 to 20 degrees above average across the eastern 2/3 of the country, from the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, the Ohio Valley, and southward toward the central Gulf Coast states. And looking at the potential high temperatures next Monday, we could be seeing highs returning into the 40s and 50s out here across the eastern 2/3 of the country, with all those colder negative temperatures farther north in towards eastern Canada. And then that continues to surge its way north and eastward across the mid-Atlantic, the Ohio Valley, and parts of the Northeast going into the day on Tuesday, February 7th. Some of this cold air will start to move back southward here into portions of the upper Midwest with potentially another storm system during this period. And it looks like the Climate Prediction Center does forecast likely above average precipitation across most of the lower 48, especially the Great Plains on eastward during that February 6th through the 12th timeframe. This is getting into the second week in February, and that is some good news because we do have lots of drought across the Great Plains here. We still have those severe, extreme, and exceptional drought categories, especially in the maroon reds here into western Kansas, Oklahoma, and on up here into Nebraska, the hardest hit areas by this drought. And it looks like a storm system could develop. Again, we've been talking about this for a while into the second week in February, somewhere across the southern plains near the Red River here, and then move on up to the northeast through the Ohio Valley into the central Great Lakes. To the northwest of this low, you're going to be watching out for some heavy snow somewhere across the central plains on up into the upper Midwest and northern plains. And then right underneath that low, we might have to watch for more ice potential with another ice storm possible then. And then some stormy weather potentially with severe weather and heavy rainfall on the southeastern side of this low pressure system that does likely develop into the second week in February from the mid-Atlantic through the southeast and into the southern plains, including the Arklatex region during that period. Well, to recap my weather forecast, extreme cold is here for now, and that will continue through early February. A potentially significant ice storm looms with heavy ice accumulations from the southern plains to the mid-Mississippi Valley and parts of the Ohio Valley through this week. And longer range weather pattern, is winter over or beginning? Well, it looks like winter will continue, at least for portions of the Great Plains and the upper Midwest. It does look like here for the time being, winter is shut off for the eastern two-thirds of the country. We'll see if that does return towards the middle of February. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I definitely appreciate it. Remember to like the video down below, give it a thumbs up, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. Get to those later on today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new, and hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Have a great Monday, everybody, a great week ahead, and I will see you all in the next video.